Sussex Breakfast. And really want to talk about this story this morning. You may have seen this over the weekend. You may have missed this piece of news. But this is an investigation by the Observer newspaper that was published yesterday. And it's found that dozens of asylum-seeking children have been kidnapped by gangs from a Hove hotel, which is being run by the Home Office. According to the newspaper, about 600 unaccompanied children have passed through the hotel in the last year and a half, and 136 are reported missing. 79 remain unaccounted for. And it quotes a whistleblower describing children being abducted off the street. Alefa Adu is a political correspondent at The Observer.
Absolutely harrowing story. It's extraordinary because, the whistleblower who apparently worked for the Home Office contractor Mighty had seen a number of them essentially being abducted. And, there's figures cited in the piece claiming that about 600 unaccompanied children have passed through this particular Sussex hotel in the last 18 months, with 136 reported missing. Now we've got Shadow Home Secretary Yvette Cooper essentially raising the question, how many children have gone missing under this government's watch? Do they even have those figures?
So this seems to have been happening where we live in the last year and a half. So what do you think about that? The BBC hasn't been able to independently verify the claims made in The Observer, but there's been lots of reaction. The Labour MP for Hove, Peter Cllr, calls it horrific, and incompetence of successive Tory Home Secretaries not only left children exposed, it put a target on their backs, says Peter Cllr. While Cathy Evans, the CEO of Children England, says it's staggering, unconscionable, systemic, reckless, negligent. Bella Sankey is working for a group that helped asylum seekers, but is now a Labour councillor on Brighton Hove City Council and joins me now. Bella Sankey, good morning.
Good morning, Danny.
Your reaction to what The Observer seems to have turned up here?
Well, I think Peter Cllr said it absolutely right. This is horrific, absolutely unconscionable, and really quite devastating, I think, for people that live in Brighton and Hove to know that this has been happening on our doorstep. But of course, this is not a surprise, because repeatedly we have warned both the Home Office and the Green administration at Brighton and Hove City Council that serious organised crime would prey on these children, that they were highly vulnerable to exploitation. But those warnings have gone completely unheeded.
And put like that, it looks obvious. So you made the warnings, and do you think they've been completely ignored or what?
I think they have. I think that both of those institutions, I think that the Home Office on the one hand, who is transferring children here, leaving them in a hotel without proper safeguarding in place, and I think that the City Council on the other hand, that is essentially not taking responsibility for these children, are both passing the buck between each other, and these children are falling down in the middle. And just look at the numbers. 136 children disappeared. That's 5 classrooms of children. 5 classrooms of children in Brighton and Hove is a staggering number. One child is too much, right?
Yeah.
But that number of children is just mind-bending.
I just want to walk through this just so everybody's clear, because this might be new to a lot of people. Okay, so unaccompanied children perhaps arriving on boats across the channel, as we've spoken a lot about, then being put up in a hotel by the Home Office in Brighton and Hove, and then from there they're being targeted by gangs or whoever and just vanishing.
Exactly, that's right. So we know that of that number, 79 are still unaccounted for. We don't know where they are, we don't know who's got them, and we don't know what they are experiencing. And I know from my work and my previous work that, first of all, children that have arrived in the UK in this way without parents will most likely have had horrendous and traumatic experiences in their past. We've worked with children previously that have seen their parents being killed, have experienced horrendous violence. They're already very, very traumatised. So we know that these children need protection, as all children do, right? But then to allow them to be essentially in an unregistered children's home. This is all going on completely outside of the law breaking that is going on here, both from the Home Office and from the Green administration at Brighton and Hove City Council is staggering. I've never seen anything like it in my whole career.
Why is it law breaking? Is it because of the duty of care we have to these children?
Exactly. So I don't think that the Home Secretary has the legal power to move these children from wherever they've arrived in the country to Brighton and Hove. I don't understand on what basis she thinks she's operating. I don't think she has the legal power to do that, because under our law, wherever a child is in the UK, if they don't have a parent with them, and if they are unaccompanied, and if they need protection and they need welfare support, then they are the responsibility of the local authority in whose area they are.
But also, Lynn, weren't these children placed in Brighton and Hove without even the knowledge of the council sometimes? We're going to check in with the Home Office and the councils get their response to all of this. But they didn't really have a say in the matter that these children were being placed here, did they?
As I understand it, that's absolutely right. I think that local councils that have had children moved into their area and put in hotels like this, were put in a really tough position, because it took them by surprise, and everyone was gobsmacked that the Home Office was prepared to do this, given how clearly risky and unsafe this is. But then what those local authorities had a duty to do is to protect those kids. And that's where the Green administration in Brighton and Hove has fallen down so badly.
Right, so to secure those premises, because they're hotels, they're not under lock and key there.
They're not under lock and key, and that's why these children are going missing. These children need to be in foster placements, and they need to be cared for. And a national system was set up a few years ago to ensure that wherever children arrived in the UK, there was a national transfer system that meant that children would be immediately placed in foster placements around the country. Now, that's meant to be mandatory, but the Home Secretary doesn't operate it very well. And that's why you have these hotels in existence. The children are being placed in hotels for just over 2 weeks. That's completely unnecessary. They need to go straight into foster placements. But unless you stand up to this Home Office, they will do things like this. They have shown us time and again that they are callous, that they are incompetent, and that they don't care about people's basic safety and well-being.
Having read the report yesterday, it seems that actually potentially sort of county lines gangs have twigged to the fact these kids are there, have stood outside and literally abducted them or talked them away from the area, because these kids are on their own, they've got a parent looking after them, and they vanished into that system of county lines gangs.
Exactly. I think that seems to be exactly what has happened. That's what the whistleblower says. That's what's been corroborated. And as I say, this is what anyone with any knowledge and experience and expertise in this area warned would happen. When the Home Office first started doing this, the newspapers were full of experts saying these children will be targeted by serious organised crime, because we know it. We've seen serious organised crime do this before. They find the places where they think people are vulnerable to exploitation, and they go there and they kidnap them, or they take them, or they groom them away. So this is completely unsurprising. The Home Office has been warned. The Green administration at Brighton and Hove City Council has been warned, and yet here we are 18 months later with 79 children unaccounted for.
And it's happened on our doorstep. Bella Sankey, Labour councillor on Brighton and Hove City Council. So more to come on this. Once again, the BBC hasn't been able to independently confirm this story, and we have requests into the Home Office, Brighton and Hove City Council and Sussex Police for statements. So we will follow this up. 7:25.